Hey guys, welcome. Sorry about the video quality. I don't know why it's a little bit off right here. Well, I guess it always is, but I prepared this whole cover thing and then I was like, oh, it doesn't look so great through the live stream. Hey. Yeah, this is the obviously if you haven't seen the finale yet, click away because there's a lot of spoilers on this stream. I mean, not that we're going over the finale or anything, but just gonna be discussing spoilery stuff for sure. And I guess any questions that you guys had that I couldn't answer before because it had a spoiler and stuff. Hey guys. I haven't even gotten to read some of the comments yet, but I saw that there were a lot. I'm really excited about that. Yeah, Pidge, you better not have joined without having read it yet. I hope you're not coming here to spoil yourself. You said, okay, I have some questions. Where can I start asking them? You can ask them in chat and I'll just answer them as you go. Other times I've been drawing while I, am streaming, but this time I'm not going to draw. I'm just going to answer you guys' questions. So I figured there'd probably be a lot of things you guys were going to ask and stuff. And in the past, I've been so slow because I've been distracted by stuff. So also, I just did a lot of drawing for that finale. So I'm I want a drawing break. My right hand is actually super tired. I'm so glad you guys just read it. Yes. Let me make sure I didn't miss any. Oh, you made a sandwich and we're hurrying because you want to make it in time for the stream. That's so sweet. Oh God, I'm so sorry if I'm shaking the camera. Literally anytime I touch my phone, it happens. Hey guys, welcome. I wanted to save this for the finale. Shepard helped me realize I was non-binary. Loved every second of this comic. Oh my God, that means so much. I'm really glad that helped. And you're able to come to that realization. Welcome to the NB Club. Shep, Tilly, Cannon, OTP. So true. Yes, take a break. You deserve it, bestie. Thank you, Cosmo. Yeah, I really need a break now. Very good ending. Thank you. I love Nobody's Dog. Thank you so much. So my question is, what are Shepard and Tilly's pups' names and pronouns? Okay, so I was guessing people were going to ask this. And to be completely honest, as far as names go, I actually have not decided them yet. Or even too much about them because that bit was the most foggy part of the story for me. I was still trying to figure out originally there was a concept of oh, maybe Tilly has some pups, or are they going to adopt them? I don't know. There's different ways that I had been thinking about how they would have pups. And I ultimately ended up changing it from what the original concept was, which was an idea I had with my friends or whatever. So these are completely new pups that I kind of came up with, slightly more last minute than some of the other stuff. So I actually don't have any ideas for names or pronouns yet, though I have kind of had these ideas circulating in my brain about what different personalities they'd have. So the fluffy brown and white one, who's supposed to be a red border collie mix, I imagine that one's the most rambunctious and adventurous. And then in my mind, the gray one that you see in between Shepard's legs in the first panel of one of the last pages, dark gray with the white muzzle, I imagine that one's more cuddly personality, I guess. And then the third one I imagine is kind of sort of the, I guess, in-between personality, but mostly a little bit more, I guess, kind of like Tilly a little bit, with a very oh my God, I can't even think of the right word, but I guess just kind of the glue that keeps them together. That's kind of the best way I can describe it. So kind of the looking out for their siblings kind of role for those two, if that makes any sense. But yeah, as far as pronouns, I have not decided that yet. So I don't know, just refer to all of them as they for now, because I'm I didn't decide that. But I will probably be drawing those puppies in the future, and they'll probably get more fleshed out as time goes on. Let's see, I would love to make a fan art of them together. Oh, yes, that'd be so cute. Also, I'm so sorry I did not finish Tempest's reference sheet before I finished the finale. There was just so much drawing, I was like, there's just no time. So I'm probably going to finish that later, but yeah, sorry people that maybe been wanting to draw Tempest and there's like no reference. Did they adopt the puppies? Yes, they did. In my mind, they were, orphaned or abandoned puppies that Tilly and Shepard just took in. I loved the ending. I'm really glad. I just read the finale and OMG, I'm crying. It's so good. I'm very happy with the ending. I'm really glad to hear that. Yeah, I actually got a little bit choked up when I was drawing the last page. I was like, oh, it's the last time I'm going to be drawing one of these pages. What? This is the best comic I read in my life so far. Oh my God. I'm so honored. Thank you. Names are overrated. Yeah. Maybe they could be named Lamb, Sheep, and Goat because of Shepard's name. That's a cute concept. I always imagined that one of their pups would be named something like Hope. That was something that me and my friends had always thought of, but I don't know if I'll end up keeping that or not. But that was like the one name that I was like, oh yeah. Yeah, Shep got their little lambs. That could be a cute little like name that you refer to them as, like instead of like I don't know, referring to your kid as something sweet. It's like, oh, they're like my little lamb. That'd be cute. Spin-off story of a puppy not wanting to be wild and going to find a master. Honestly, that has crossed my mind before. I thought that would be kind of interesting if there was like a opposite story. I don't know for sure if we'll end up doing any of that, but like I definitely have gotten ideas. I've been waiting all day for this. Yeah, I'm sure you have. I like to think Tempest is the best eldest sibling to Shepard/Tilly's pups. Oh, that's so cute. Yeah, I like to think that too. Actually, in my mind, I always imagine that one of the puppies is like really close to Tempest and like really looks up to them because they never had anyone look up to them and mostly felt like looked down upon or like belittled or seen as just like rambunctious, irresponsible. So I always like the idea of like one of their puppies being like, oh my God, she's so cool, she's like older and I don't know, like a role model to them. That's what I've always imagined. But the other dogs are really scared for them and try and stop her, but they go and find a good owner who's not a master but a partner. Oh, yeah, I always think, I always like the idea of getting to show some of the nuance that there's not just bad masters, because I know that this story was mostly like, did not portray like dogs living with people very well, and that's not ultimately what I'm trying to say, obviously. It's just, kind of how things went down, so I do think it would be interesting if that was explored more for sure. Also, do you have any ideas for future OC stories, like something with already existing ones or even new OCs? Yeah, I actually have quite a few ideas. A lot of them are like not super fleshed out at the moment because for me, when I think of a story, I always think of the like character arc first for some reason, and then I'm like, okay, what would the plot be? And then often the plot, when I first am coming up with it, is just like a really generic plot, but it's usually with some sort of nuanced twist. So the ideas on their own at the moment like don't sound too interesting, honestly. But as far as with these characters, I've considered, and again, I'm not going to necessarily jump into anything right away, but mini comics with like Shepard and Tilly and the pups, I think would be pretty fun to do. Potentially, if there were to be a Nobody's Dog sequel, something following Tempest and their backstory a little bit more. And also probably one of the pups as the main character. And then I also have been pretty inspired with the ideas of like a Nobody's Dog prequel. I think that would be a little tricky because I feel like it would just be pretty dark, but I actually kind of would find it interesting to do one from mostly Max's point of view, exploring his backstory and a little bit about Shepard's time as like a fighting dog. So that's what I'm thinking about for those characters. And then other story-wise, I have one about these two kids that are traveling through the wilderness to find a better place to live. Some of the concepts a little bit fuzzy. And that one would ultimately be about codependency and toxic relationships, actually. And that's really all I can cover on it right now. But in my mind, again, there would be a disabled non-binary character, main character, and a secondary character. And it's basically just exploring their relationship as they're trying to survive together. And there's some cracks in it. So that one's also like a little bit sad. So I'm not sure if I jump into that right away. I'm kind of also considering like, oh, maybe I'll do something a little happier next time. I don't know. Happier than Nobody's Dog anyway. Sorry, I'm so behind the questions. Would you ever consider releasing this as a physical comic in the future? I absolutely love this and the journey Shepard went on. I would actually. I've been like really busy, obviously, with finishing the comic, but now that it is finished, I have this like long list of book agents that I can contact, and so they basically can help you get in contact with like publishers and stuff. So I am actually interested in starting that process, and obviously there's no guarantee, but fingers crossed. I do have a goal to have a physical copy of the book that people could like buy, and I guess get best case scenario, I want it to be like published by an actual like publishing company, but maybe last resort it could be self-published depending. OMG, wait, it's over. Time to make fan art. Yeah, that's how we cope, isn't it? What if one of their puppies somehow ends up with Max's personality as part of their rebellious phase, maybe? That'd be interesting. Damn, I'll have to remind myself how to draw doggos. Yeah, it's kind of tricky to draw them in a while. I think it's so cool watching your art grow since the start of the comic. Yeah, thank you. I agree. When I look back at the like first pages, I'm like, oh my god, they look so old. I've actually even changed programs during this project too. So like I used to use a completely different program too. So like some of the little stuff I'm like, oh my god, that's when I was using, that tool or whatever. The little lambs. How did you meet each other? A shepherd. Oh, I got tied up / captured by humans. And your mother was a war dog set to guard me, but we ended up saving each other. Yeah, they probably have quite a story to tell their puppies, wouldn't they? In my mind, I imagine all their puppies are super curious and they just love asking their parents all the questions. What happened to Max for him to die? Okay, so this one I also some of it I like to leave vague because I guess I liked the mystery of the fact that Shepard never really got to find out, besides that he ran into trouble. But in my mind, ever since Tilly and Shepard escaped, Max has just become more and more of an outcast in the ward, and he just became more and more insane, basically. Like, he could have had an opportunity to try to better himself after those mistakes and maybe start to realize it, but he was really stuck in being in denial, and eventually he just started spending less and less time by the ward. And so eventually he was just kind of started aimlessly searching for Shepard, and I think, in my mind, I think he didn't really know what his end goal was. I think he literally was looking for Shepard and he either wanted to kill them or join them. And he wasn't even sure what the answer was. And I think his like blind search to obsess over what's going on with Shepard and how they're living their life was ultimately his demise, because he ran into some sort of wild animal on the way, and he was not, thinking rationally or, following any line of common sense. He was just blindly going forward. In my mind, he almost just kind of, had a fight with an animal and then just kept going, even though he was bleeding out. He just wasn't even like all there mentally in many ways. He was just kind of out of it at that point. So yeah, mostly just, he was super reckless and really just blindly stalking Shepard for reasons he never even figured out himself. Do you get to be my fave author now? I don't know. I guess that's up to you. I would buy this comic. It's really good to know how much interest there is for the comic. Because, I really hope I can publish it one day. What do you use to use for art? Basically, like, what do I use to draw art? Program-wise, I use Medibang Paint Pro. That's the program I'm on right now. like as far as what I draw on a Wacom Cintiq tablet. That's also this. So it's like a, you draw right in the screen kind of thing. I guess that's the main thing I can say about that, I guess. I started off on Photoshop, but I would not recommend it because it was like super laggy and all these issues. So I eventually moved to Medibang. It's a free program, pretty nice. And then I also used this charcoal brush that I made for all the line art for like Nobody's Dog and stuff. I love the ending. It's happy, but you wonder what happened. What happened to Max and the other pack dogs in the ward? I like the speculation. Thank you. Yeah, I like to, like, both. Obviously, I don't want to leave too much stuff just, like, completely, like a mystery that makes no sense. But leaving a few things up to interpretation or just to leave you to wonder about it, I always thought was pretty fun just because, I don't know, it leaves room for you to create your own theories. And a lot of you guys have really cool theories, too, so I like hearing them. Okay, Max ended up dying the way he lives, gaslighting to the very end. Side note, I do find him a very compelling character, and I thought his end was very fitting. Thank you. Yeah, I wanted him to have an end that really was consistent with how he's acted. Okay, let's see. I also have questions here. I forgot to check the questions thing. What are the pups' names? Yeah, I answered this earlier. I have not decided names for them yet. However, I do plan to draw them in the future, and I'll probably flesh them out a little bit more because their designs were like actually a little bit more last minute than some of the other stuff. So I like only have like really vague ideas that I kind of made up of their like personalities and stuff. So yeah, I don't know their names yet. Do you plan on doing another comic like this? Yes, I do. Oh my God. Sorry. 1 second. Let me close this. Oh, God. I don't know how to... Oh, there we go. I was just struggling with Instagram for a second there. Sorry. I am going to do more comics like this. I don't think I'm going to do it, like, instantly because I really need a break now after all that. However, this has made me, like, really realize how much I like comics. Like, I'm definitely like, oh, I want to do more graphic novels in the future. I've always really liked storytelling and stuff. So, like, after all this, I'm like, oh, my God, yeah, I'm definitely doing more of these. I did comment about this a bit ago on the first post, but was the shadow going over Shepard's face in the first post/cover, was that meant to be foreshadowing for Shepard's scar later on? Yes, it was. I'm glad you caught that. It was very subtle, but yeah, that was my intention. Basically just, obviously I didn't want to spoil if they get this huge scar later on, but I also wanted to, like, I guess give a little hint of it because it is, like, ends up being a big part of them later. So, yeah, that was the entire purpose of that. If Max had lived, would he have threatened Tilly/Shepard's pups? I mean, probably. Again, like Shepard literally says, he is pretty dangerous and he is, unruly and unpredictable. And it's hard to tell what he would have ultimately done. Again, I don't know, there still could be a possibility that he would have eventually learned to change and maybe even be trustworthy, but had he just in the same situation where he didn't really, improve anything, but just was still alive, I'm guessing that Tilly and Shepard would always be really afraid of that being, like, a risk or a threat. Because, it's pretty unnerving when, someone that you know was very dangerous is still out there and could be looking for you or your loved ones, welcome, guys. Let's see. Just finished reading the finale of Nobody's Dog, and it was beautiful. But the pups that Shepard and Tilly were taking care of are strays or something like that? ? Yes, they're not just taking care of them; they adopted them basically. So they were probably orphaned or abandoned, and Shepard and Tilly just took them in. I just read it, and oh my lord, I love this comic so much. I love the ending. Aw, thank you. I'm really glad. Speaking of the ward, was it a cult-like place with how women were treated versus men? Yes, the ward is a cult. That's really all I can say about that. But yeah, I'm glad a lot of people were able to interpret it as a cult, because that was definitely my intention. Maybe one of their pups ends up captured in the ward and they realize how much their parent sugarcoated for them about their past. Or maybe one of them even ends up or maybe one of them even ends up capturing into a fighting dog ring. Oh gosh, that'd be dark, but yeah. Let's see. What was the ward dog's purpose? What was it? Oh, basically just like, yeah, why were dogs tied to the post? Well, ultimately, they were supposed to eventually be integrated into the pack, but I think a part of it was like the humans' belief of being like, well, these are strays and they're better off, you know, here than being out in the wilderness. And so it's kind of like a savior mentality they have of being like, oh yeah, you know, we're saving these dogs, we're keeping them from, you know, going completely feral and, you know, just like starving in the wilderness. We're like keeping them alive. But for those that like weren't trainable, they kind of just left them to, you know, live on a post, which is also not fair to them at all. But I think in their mind, they're like, well, anything's better than, you know, being a stray. So I think they just think that like this is what's best for them, even if it's not actually. You know, obviously it showed that some of the dogs were trainable, but like for a dog like Shepherd, it was just like, oh yeah, we'll take any dog. You know, we can rehabilitate, quote unquote, rehabilitate any of these animals. But then the ones that they actually couldn't train, they just kind of just left there in a pretty neglectful way. So I think that's their logic and their point is like that's why it's actually called the ward. Because by definition, it means like a sanctuary or refuge, a place that you're like, quote unquote, taken in. It's not actually what it is, but I think that's what they think it is, you know? I just finished the comic and I really loved it. Thank you. Hi, I love this ending so much I'm gonna cry. Aw, thank you. Just read the whole thing at once. I loved the ending. I'm really glad you liked it. Let's see. Romance for their future pups, maybe. Maybe one of their pups falls in love with a dog who is somebody's pet. Or maybe one of their pups falls in love with a wolf and is torn between two packs. Oh, damn, like a Romeo and Juliet situation. What's the ward really? Are they a puppy farm or like a cult? They are a cult, yeah. They're a cult that has some sort of, I guess dogs are a part of their religion, and I think they just have this belief that capturing dogs and putting them on the post is, they think that's what's best for them, you know? They think they're rescuing dogs, basically. Not just like, oh, it's fun to see dogs on the post, but just the mindset of like, oh, well, these dogs were in the wild and starving, and now they're here, and they're being well fed, even though there's a bunch of other things about it that's really messed up and inhumane. But it's one of those classic, like, hypocrisy situations where, like, people really like to act like they're doing something good because generally people don't respond well to just, like, blatantly being like, oh, yeah, I'm doing a bad thing. People are very eager to rationalize whatever the thing that they're doing is. But when you actually look at it, of course, you're like, well, that logic is really skewed. So it's like, oh, yeah, rescuing animals. But then when you actually look at it, you realize it's, like, not really. Does the ward care about she-dogs so much because they're some kind of puppy mill? No. I mean, I probably asked this question before I answered that other question. But, yeah, that's not why. They just value she-dogs because of their own religious reasons. What do the humans do in the ward? Yeah, that's a good question. Honestly, I never even, like, went super in depth into, like, what the humans' lives are, but I do think there's a lot of just hunting for stuff. In my mind, they're kind of, they're more out in the wilderness and more rural, so I think they live a lot more, minimalist. Like, I think their lifestyle is very farm and, like, I guess living off of your own resources kind of thing, because they're very, like, off the grid from, I think, a lot of society. So in my mind, they maybe, like, actually go hunting for their own food and stuff, or maybe eat some of the meat from their farm animals or whatever. So I guess, I don't know, that's, like, the best description I can give for, like, what I think a human's life in the ward is like. But I'm guessing it's terrible for the people, too. Not to, like, give them too much credit, but, like, I don't think it's a healthy environment for anyone. I would love to know what breed or mix Tempest is. Is she a leopard dog? I would also love a story about her background. Yeah, I'm considering it. I might do a story about Tempest's background because I actually have already written their backstory and it's something that I really like. So, and yes, Tempest is a Catahoula leopard dog mix. Originally, she also had some beagle in her as well. So I don't know. Take that if you will, but I can't remember how consistent I really kept that. So, but the main point is yes, Catahoula mix. I just read the finale and I loved it. Amazing, spectacular, wonderful. Thank you. Unrelated, but I love the Shep Tilly art on the screen. They're so soft. Thank you. Yeah, I really like this panel. They're so cute. Let's see. Welcome everyone that came. I find it very heroic that Tilly /Shepherd /Tempest actually did go back to the ward to rescue more dogs. Yeah, I imagine that must have been really terrifying for all three of them because they have so much trauma from that place. Are the stickers still available? Yes, they are. They are still available to purchase. So basically, if you just go to the link in my bio, you'll see it will take you to a site that has a lot of links of like my social medias. And if you click on the Nobody's Dog one on the top, it'll take you to the official Nobody's Dog site. And then under merch, you can buy the stickers if you want them, if you're interested. And yeah, they ship internationally, so it's not limited to like just the United States or anything. So Tempest is so cool. She, they icon. Yes. We love a she, they, NB. No problem. Glad I could give some more information on that. Yes, and of course, any donations or merch purchases really helps for the comic and for my chances to be able to do another one of these in the future, because over this year that I've been working on this comic, I didn't have a lot going on. So like that is part of one of the reasons why I was able to like get so much done. And so like as I have more stuff going on or like I'm, busy with like a job or something, it takes away from that time. So obviously the more profit that's able to be made, even if that's not my ultimate goal, it does help with giving me more time to like make more projects like this in the future for sure. Would you do like an extra small comic that shows what happened when they went to rescue the ward dogs? Yeah, potentially. I do like the idea of doing some like mini comics so they're less of like a huge commitment, but they just fill in little bits of stories of like stuff that doesn't fit for a full like graphic novel, but maybe you'd like to see just answered, like, yeah, the pups hanging out, or yeah, what happened with that and stuff. I'm curious how Shepherd and Tilly had pups. Did one of them mate with a male dog to have pups, or did they find those pups? Also, amazing story and art. Yeah, they adopted those pups. That's basically just that's why the pups don't resemble them like at all, because they just, adopted them, took them in. Unrelated, but like, how are you holding up your phone right now? I'm like super distracted for no reason, lol. That is a very good question. So I bought this like adjustable phone stand because it was impossible to have my phone held up at the right angle for this. So I just got a phone stand, and it's like still weirdly hard to set up even though it's very adjustable. But yeah, it's a lifesaver because it's like impossible to hold your phone up otherwise at the right angle. Imagine if Shepherd /Tilly adopts another puppy who is missing the opposite eye of Shepherd and they become each other's eyes. Aw, that'd be really sweet. Love that. Do you need donations to publish the comic? I actually do not know the details of that yet. I'm pretty sure publishing, I guess it depends. Like, let's say if I was self-publishing, then I would need donations. But if I end up getting picked up by a publisher, then that's all covered by them. So I'm not sure. However, obviously any donations are appreciated. So yeah, I'm obviously using magic to hold up my phone. It's just levitating. I need a phone stand for my streams that totally exist. I mean, even if you don't stream, phone stands are very handy because it's really hard to get at least for me, I can never get my hand to stay still when I'm holding on my phone. So then it's like a shaky camera. I can't imagine how much your wrist would be hurting after all these pages, but we all really appreciate the hard work and dedication you put in. Yes, actually, my wrist is really hurting. I try to take a lot of breaks because just as an artist, you have to learn to do that. But yeah, my right hand is like very tired out right now, for sure. I mean, all worth it. But yeah, thank you so much. I'm really glad that I really appreciate that you guys appreciate and recognize all the work I've done, because yeah, it's definitely a lot. I feel like the more someone like posts, or like the more content they bring out, at least I've noticed this, it's like sometimes harder to like remember how much work has been put into that, because it's like, oh, you just see it when it's out, and the end product is always so much shorter than the amount of time spent like making it. So I'm always like really touched when you guys would like think about the process I went through to get it out. Thank you. At least we all know dogs go to heaven, so that's probably where Max is, probably. Well, actually, it's not really confirmed. It's just, I mean, though, like, you know, the dogs in the ward, they believe dogs go to heaven. But just because they believe that doesn't necessarily mean it's true. I kind of don't want to put any, I guess, like, confirmation or belief on what the afterlife is supposed to be in this world, because we just don't know. So there's just different beliefs of what the afterlife is, but there's no actual exploration of like, oh, this perspective is right or this perspective is wrong, you know. They're just it's unknown. But yeah, maybe if there is a heaven, I'm not sure. Perhaps Max is there, because it depends what the standards of expectation of getting into quote unquote heaven are in this world, I suppose. Why is your art so amazing? I love your art style. Oh, thank you. I guess years of practice, for sure. OMG, they're so cute. Pats them. Yes, they deserve all the pats. Cosmo can adopt them. Yes, Cosmo would be a great pet owner to them. I hope you take a much needed break. Thank you. Yeah, I'm really hoping to. I think I'm going to have some fun getting to draw some other stuff, since I've been just drawing these same dogs for so long, which is still enjoyable, but I do love variety. So probably I'm going to be like, let me draw something super different now for a nice break. So yeah, I look forward to getting to like doodle random stuff. If Indigo lets us. All Dogs Go to Heaven is a reference. Oh, yeah. No, I know it was a reference to the movie. Sorry, I'm maybe I read that question wrong. I thought they were saying that it was confirmed in the comic, but yeah, maybe it was just a reference to the movie. I'm not sure. I do know that's a movie, though. Thank you. I agree with that. Sometimes people really think they know the truth, but we never know until we ourselves die. I see how people could put into their own ideas of the afterlife into the story. Yeah, no, interpretations of the afterlife are super interesting. I just don't have like a confirmation about what it is in this story, because no one does in real life either. And that's also with all the religious stuff too, in my mind. The dog's like religion or idea of the human's religion could even be inaccurate, because they don't speak the same language as the humans, so they have their own idea of what they think the humans believe. It could actually be totally off, and we don't know. Are you guys tormenting Pidge? Good lord. Draw a giraffe. Yeah, that would be really different. I've kind of been wanting to draw some owls recently, too. I don't know. They look fun. Owls and dragons. Also because I keep seeing all this really cool Guardians of Gahul and Wings of Fire fan art, and I really like both of those book series, so I'm just like, oh my god, look at that art. That's deep, bro. Yeah, whoops. Yeah, some of this stuff can get kind of deep quickly when talking about some of the Nobody's Dog themes. Max is the car face of Nobody's Dog. That's a really fine description, yeah. I suppose so. Draw owls, yes. Yeah, I really want to. It sounds really fun. I mean, I'm actually not very good at drawing birds, but that's why I want to do it. I just don't draw birds enough. Make the Owl House fan art, yes. Not for / half joking. Yeah, I might. I haven't made fan art in a while, and I've definitely been wanting to make fan art of some different stuff. So maybe I will. I did really like the last episode I saw of it. I also have been really wanting to make Nimona fan art. That's, for those that don't know, it's the graphic novel by N.D. Stevenson, you know, the creator of She-Ra. But yeah, it's really good. And I read it like quite a while ago, and then I was so busy with the comic I didn't make any fan art, but I've really been wanting to because I really loved it. Carface was the villain of All Dogs Go to Heaven movies. Yeah, I know who that is. Thank you for specifying, though. I watched that movie as a kid, so I do remember it. I was just laughing because, I don't know, it's just a funny description. So did Tilly and Shep adopt kids? If so, that's so cute. Yes, they did. I accidentally clicked the wrong thing. I'm glad that the comic ended happy. However, some of my personal favorite pages of this story was probably the dream Shepard had of Tilly when they believed Tilly was dead. Yeah, those pages were really fun to draw, actually. I really liked getting to do such a different color scheme for the, like, dream sequence. They were pretty fun. Bye, everyone. Have a great summer. Bye. Thanks for stopping by. King's Tide. Yes, it was a very sad episode. I love Nimona. Yes, Nimona is great. Have you tried drawing stuff from The Lion King? I love doing that. I haven't. I did like it a bit as a kid, but as far as just in general, I mean, it's a good movie, obviously. It's a classic. I'm not super into the story. Just because, I don't know, it just, the characters don't really call to me, you know? I guess I did draw Kiara once for that, 6-character fan art thing. So that was kind of fun because, I don't know, the style is fun. But as far as, like, do I have a passion to want to draw them? Not particularly. I don't know. I'm, like, so picky about, like, what kind of characters, I guess. But, yeah. I haven't read Nimona yet. I would definitely recommend it, especially if you like She-Ra. It has a lot of overlapping themes. And I could definitely see a lot of stuff of like, oh, this trope was used again later for She-Ra and stuff. So that was pretty cool. Collector is my personal favorite character of the Owl House. Oh, nice. Yeah, that's a pretty cool character. I'm not going to go into detail on that because I don't want to spoil people, but yeah. Have you watched Amphibia? That's a really good show that's also on Disney. Yes, I have watched Amphibia. I saw all of it. I've always wanted to read Nimona. Oh, cool. Yeah, you should check it out. Hi, I wasn't here when you answered how Tilly and Shep got pups. Could you repeat that? Yeah, sure thing. So they adopted the pups. That's the simple answer to it. But yeah, they were just abandoned or orphaned, and they took them in. Do I have names for the puppies? No, I do not yet. I will come up with them eventually, though. Yeah, I'm used to answering the same question a lot. Also, I feel so bad for people who, like, ask the question, someone else answers for them, and then I see it a million years later, and then I answer it again. Sorry, guys. Now you'll have me up at night thinking about dog religions. That's my goal. No, I'm kidding. Those dream pages scared me, to be honest. I thought Tilly was visiting from the afterlife, and I meant Shepard was dying, too. Yeah, that was actually my intention, because I'm evil. I wanted to, I guess, make the audience a little scared for a second there. I should draw Shep Tilly. Oh, that would be so cute. Still adored them. Yes, thank you. What, nobody? I have no idea what that's asking. I like Lion King too, mostly for Zira. Zira. I found her more intimidating than Scar. Also saw when Nuka died because all he wanted was his mother's attention and he didn't get it until he died. Oh yeah, for sure. I think Zira is a way more interesting character than Scar. Her design's pretty cool too. As I said, again, I still enjoyed the movies. Like, I still rewatch them every now and again too, just because, I don't know, like, the animation's really nice, and, well, Well, talking animals, those are always fun. And there's still like it's very entertaining. There's just certain pieces of media that I'm definitely more like, I don't know, more passionate about. And I usually only make fan art of like stuff that I'm like, oh yeah, I don't know. There's like a certain level that I have to like it to make fan art. What about sad ending where Tilly died back then, and when Shep had this dream about her, she took them to the afterlife? That would be super sad, yeah. There's many sad alternate endings for sure. What Nobody's Dog character do you relate to the most? It's got to be Shepherd for sure. I actually tried to put elements in like all of the characters that like get a good amount of development to have some elements that I found somewhat relatable. But it's definitely Shepherd the most. I would say their arc is definitely based off or inspired by certain things that I've learned over time. And obviously just like their arcs with like coming to terms with being non-binary and stuff, and their general struggles for sure. Indigo making us attached to a set of pixels. Indigo fighting tears. Yeah, honestly, I can't tell if it's a mixture of like nervousness or like emotion in the comic, but yeah, I'm like, my voice might sound a little off right now. I don't know if I sound choked up or not. I just finished reading the finale. Oh, that's awesome. That was a great way to bring tension in as well. Yeah, thank you. I love tension. You've never seen any Lion King, Cosmo? That's impressive. I've met like very people who have not seen any of it. I'm impressed. May I ask what happened to Max? What made him bleed that way? He ran into a wild animal on his way to find Shepherd. Is the simple answer I can put for that. And he just did not care and just kept going. And was like, nope, I'm just going to still try to find Shepherd. I mean, that's another thing that kind of, I was talking about this earlier, but he didn't really know what his plan was when he went to find Shepherd. He just blindly did it. I think either with the intention of wanting to kill Shepherd or join them, and he just could not figure out which. But I do think the fact that he kept looking for Shepherd even after he knew he was too gravely injured to really do much says something. However, when he actually got there, he didn't really do anything besides try to like take some last jabs of Shepherd before he died. So definitely not a good move on his part. If he was considering joining Shepherd or doing anything that would change, he ended up not going for that option. Did you like the Lady and the Tramp movies as a kid? Yeah, I did. I watched a lot of animated animal movies as a kid, and that was definitely one of them that I enjoyed. Maybe if you explored the pups, you could maybe show the pups demonstrating their different hunting skills from each other. So maybe one of them, the better runner, listener, sighting prey, etc. Yeah, that'd be fun. That'd be really cute. Another idea. Shep's first master didn't miss and killed them with a shot. The end. That would be a very short story. But yeah, that's another sad alternate ending. In some ways, maybe less sad because there was barely any time for anyone to get as attached to the character. It's just like, oh, okay, that was dark. JK, I love this story. Thank you. Quick question about the way you draw. What brush do you use in Medibang for the line art in the comic? Yeah, so there's this custom brush. It actually was originally from Photoshop, but then I changed programs, and so I found a way to kind of try to replicate it, but it's basically this, it's this charcoal brush, and it's if you set it at the brush spacing of 41, rotation angle at 2, rotate random at 23, color jitter at 1, and hue jitter at 2. I don't know if that's helpful at all, but those are the random settings I have for my charcoal brush. Maybe I'll like take a screenshot of my settings sometime if some people want to actually use a similar kind of brush. I have like no questions. I'm just mushy feelings. Aw. I impressed Indigo. Yippee. Yes, you did with your lack of watching The Lion King. Yes. Can I get a bestie shout out, Batty? Yes. Shout out to Cosmo for never having watched a single Lion King movie before. You are a rare breed, and I respect that. I was ready for a fight scene between Max Shepard and the pack. Yeah, I know a lot of you were. I tried to kind of do what wasn't going to be expected, because I think the go-to assumption is that there's going to be some big fight scene. And then it's like, and I also set it up so people would think that Max had someone else's blood on him. And then it's like, oh no, actually, that's his blood. Shout out to the 19 people here. Oh my gosh, yeah. He may have wanted to join them, maybe to regain control, I guess. Yeah, and it said like that in the comic too, that potentially he did want to join them, but we don't know if that was with good intentions or not, obviously. He is a character of mystery for sure. What does the owner of Max think? Their doggo is missing, haha. Max's owner is dead. He also died in the bear attack along with Tilly's master, and that's why later the chief is shaming Max because he did not die for his master. He survived, but his master died. So that's why both he and Tilly are shamed. It's actually not about their injuries, just the fact that they lived, and they're like, how dare you? You can't live without your master, kind of thing. I remember when I had a dog OC for an RP, and as a pup, she got attacked by a cougar, and she had some disabilities after. Yeah, a lot of like unexpected stuff happens in RPs, which is pretty interesting. Because Shepard was also originally an RP character, and when their face got ripped up, that was not a planned thing. Except then when I went back and changed the story, it got really different, because originally Max was just the character that ripped up Shepard's face, but he had not been in the story up until then. So I changed it because I was like, what if it was like personal, you know, instead of just a random thing? What if it was, because again, with RPs, stuff happens randomly. You can't plan it. But I was like, what if actually there had been like a history there and like some backstories to how it happened? I don't know how to feel about Max dying, lol. Yeah, honestly, that was the part of my goal as well. Leaving people not knowing how to feel about it. I'm guessing a lot of people are probably like, woo, Max is dead. I actually had conflicting feelings. Even though he's like horrible, I also was like, I don't know. He still had a tragic ending, I guess. Are you into scary stuff like horror? No, I'm not really into horror, honestly. I know I have like a lot of gore in my stuff, but I'm not really into just horror in general, I guess. And depending on how something is set up, I can be disturbed by that kind of stuff, depending. I think for me, I like dark themes in something for a reason, but not just because it's dark. It's more if it's like trying to tell a certain point or narrative, I guess. But if it's just dark for the sake of being dark, I'm less into it. Just finished the finale. Love this comic. Definitely read it again. Thank you. Did Max ever like Tilly romantically? Just wondering, since Max was like weirdly controlling of Tilly's throughout the story. I mean, again, I leave it up to interpretation, but in my mind, he wasn't. He was just a controlling friend. He got even more controlling over Tilly after he got his scar, because before he had the sense of control of being second command at the ward and having this certain status, and when he lost his master, he lost that status, and so Tilly was the last thing that he had control over in his life. Obviously, that's no excuse for that, but I think he got way more controlling. He was already controlling, but he got even more controlling after that, because he was like, well, now Tilly is the last thing that I have left to, and not in like my friend that I can depend on, more like, this is the last thing that I can feel like, again, I have control over. So I don't think it was really about any sort of romance-related thing. It was more just that he got really attached of this idea that he kind of owns Tilly, and so Tilly started to think more freely, and he didn't like it. However, it's not invalid to interpret it as any sort of jealousy or romantic feelings or like abusive partner. Like, that also is a valid interpretation, but personally, I felt that was the most predictable and go-to thing to assume about it. Even in queer stories, where it's often like there's the queer ship, and then there's the like you know, abusive straight guy who's trying to pull him apart, and I kind of didn't want to do that for this. I just had him, he was in the picture, but he wasn't supposed to be trying to get between necessarily just the romantic element. It was just the whole element. He doesn't like Shepard's relationship with Tilly because it gives him less control, because Tilly learns to have more freedom and more free thinking, and that doesn't, you know, support his ability to just control Tilly. So, yeah. Maybe if you do a pup spin-off, maybe one of the pups gets an injury from running too close to a deer, and it's up to their siblings maybe to bring back their injured sibling to the main pack. Aw, that'd be sweet and sad. Thank you for coloring the finale. Yeah, no problem. I purposely wanted there to be more and more color as the story progressed, so that's why I had the finale all in full color, because the tone has changed at that point. Everything in the ward is in grayscale because it's a depressing tone and it's very monotonous and not much is changing, whereas the colors get more vibrant as time goes by because Shepard is finally free. Even when Max is dying and when there's this sense of fear, Shepard is still free, so that's why it's still in color, even if the colors are more muted. Nobody's dog but Shepard has a gun. Oh my god. Yeah, I thought Max had gotten Tilly and I was so scared. Yeah, valid. Looks pretty scary at first. Yeah, no worries. It's really easy to forget those details. See, I definitely like that it didn't turn into a fight scene, since it definitely subverted expectations, but in a good way. Thank you. Yeah, that was my goal. Man, dog religion is complicated. So true. I mean, isn't religion complicated in any situation? Whether it's dog-related or not. Any behind the scenes wisdom you have for us? How is the process of making the comic? Okay, I guess just like my general process. When I do the sketches, I'm like super messy and rough. Maybe I'll try to pull up what a unfinished page looks like sometime. I'll probably actually post some of those later. Like, I'm gonna share some like old stuff I had that had spoilers, so you guys can see what some of the old drawings or comics I used to make these characters before it became like a graphic novel, and also what like an unfinished page of the comic looks like before it's been like all, you know, lined and colored and everything. Because yeah, it's really rough sketches. I usually do sketch a lot of pages at once to like get a feel for how the pacing is. Then I go right into line art. I think it depends how comfortable with drawing the characters you are, because sometimes the sketch is very rough, and so when I'm going to line art, I'm refining a lot in one layer. So for some people, it might work better to do another sketch layer, but for me, I just go right into line art after that. Try not to be too much of a perfectionist with each drawing, because there's just so many panels. And then I go and obviously do all the color, flat color for everything, backgrounds, and then shading. I forgot to mention, actually, the first step I do is speech bubbles. My God. That's very important, because you want to make sure you know where your speech bubbles fit in on the page. However, I am actually thinking of doing a like behind the scenes video of just more in detail about how I made Nobody's Dog. So that will like have a lot more info and without me like rambling on here. So yeah, stay tuned for that, and I'll let you all know when it comes out. What do you think Shepard and Tilly would look like as humans? Wait, I could draw that. Yeah, you could, because actually I personally like turning animal characters into humans and vice versa isn't really my thing. At least I'm not a big fan of designing it, but anyone who wants to try designing it is free to, so be my guest. It's a moral dilemma. We want Max to pay for what he did, but also it wasn't his fault. It wasn't his fault he was the way he was. So true, yeah. It's definitely complicated. But yeah, I guess I kind of like to think that maybe in alternate universe things worked out better for Max, but that's I guess it's kind of not even as far about like what he did or didn't deserve, because I think there's a lot of like, oh, well, Max did the bad thing, so he deserved to die. And I don't really know. I personally don't really think he deserved to die. It's just that he did, you know. That ended up being what, you know, the ultimate result of it. But necessarily mean he just deserved death. It just kind of, you know, happened. There's a lot of, I guess, there's a lot of different ways that can determine a character's fate. Sometimes they can be very random, I guess, if that makes sense. I wonder if he actually did love Tilly as another dog or just as an object he could have control over. Yeah, in my mind, I think a part of him did love Tilly as an actual dog, too. Again, we see a little bit of the flashback when they first met. I think originally their relationship was actually not toxic. However, they were in a very toxic environment, so it very quickly started to get tainted. And also, I think as there was a power imbalance, because eventually Max had this status as second in command, and Tilly was still disrespected by her pack mates. So I think he started to have a lot more control over her at that point. And that really started to mess things up for them. Short story idea. The pups gather wildflowers to decorate their den for Tilly, like celebrating a dog's Mother's Day. Oh, that is so cute. You know, I might make a mini comment of that idea because that's just adorable. We'll see. I'm drawing Tilly and Shepard as humans. No one can stop me. Yes, do it. It'll be really interesting to see. I just read the finale. It was absolutely amazing. Thank you. I'm glad you guys are enjoying it. Oh my god, I finally caught up on all the questions. Welcome, guys. I forgot to make sure there's something I missed. Araya, another horror webtoon filled with morally gray characters, but there's a lot of gore, so I understand if you want to skip that. The art, however, is very bright and colorful. Interesting. I guess I'll consider it. I'll think about it. It really depends for me. Good job, man. Thank you. It was a lot to catch up on, for sure. Do the wild dog pack howl in the wild? Oh, like, do they howl? In my mind, I think they do, yeah. Dogs love to howl. How long is this stream gonna be? Probably about an hour, except now I can see it's already been like an hour. So, I don't know. It probably will go on for like another 15 minutes, just because also my phone is kind of low battery and I don't have a good way to charge it from here, so that will determine how long it is. When Tilly was a pup, she was scared and accidentally made her owner trip. What made you go admittedly to death for Tilly's trauma instead of just having the owner have an injury? I wanted to have the owner's fate result in death, because for it to, I guess, fit with the theme about how if a dog has lost their master, they have no purpose in life anymore. Essentially, that like keeping your master alive is your sole purpose. And so if in their, you know, in the ward's eyes, if you're a dog and you survive but your master dies, that's shameful and you're basically worthless at this point. And so actually in my mind, it was Max that eventually helped Tilly get to a place in the pack where she had a chance getting a new master, and that's how she ended up with the second one and kind of got a second chance, even though no one liked her because of what happened with her first master. Obviously, it was still bad because she was still in that terrible environment, but I think that's another control Max also got of her, was just being like, oh, I did all this for you, you know, now you owe me. Yeah, apparently it's been an hour. I also have no sense of time. Well, I guess I started a little bit late. I started a little bit after 3 o'clock for my time, but it's currently 4 o'clock for me, so it's been about an hour. Let's see, another horror webtoon. Yeah, I probably will avoid horror one just because it's not my favorite genre, even if it does have morally gray characters. Generally just not my thing, but morally gray characters are very fun. So did Tilly have to go through the shame ceremony twice? Yes. I mean, I suppose I don't know if the ceremony the first time really went down the same way because Tilly was a lot younger then. However, that is how she ended up being a ward dog for a certain amount of time. She actually was, I don't know if you guys remember this detail, but she does state to Shepherd that she used to be a ward dog, and that's one of the reasons why she's so nice to the dogs that are tied up, is because she knows what it was like, versus a lot of the other dogs are like, well, I was never in that place, and they just have no sympathy. So yeah, she spent some of her life, a little bit of her puppyhood, tied up there, and that's also where she was when she met Max, until eventually she got another master. Basically, it's like the post, or the place where the ward dogs are tied up. That's kind of like either the place where a dog that has just been captured from the wild goes, or a member of the pack who has really broken the rules or done something shameful, where it's like, well, you're no longer trustworthy to us, you know? Plus, being friends with Indigo is that we share time zones, so I don't have to translate time zones. I know, it's so nice. Sexuality reveal? I don't know if there's some context I'm missing. I don't know if you're talking about me or the characters. I am labelless sexuality-wise, so I don't know. What were the characters' masters like? In my mind, Max's master was abusive. Kind of similar to Shepherd's master, actually. I think he was just abusive in a different way. Shepherd is very, like, obviously, you can see that they've, been through abuse. They're covered in scars. And I think with Max, it was more subtle, stuff, as maybe just like, other forms of violence that didn't leave like scars and stuff. I also think because of his breed, he was more so expected to be really like, indestructible and like relentless in a certain way. So yeah, in my mind, Max's hunter is like super into, Max's master is super into like hunting and stuff, and yeah, kind of abusive. And then Tilly's masters, both of them, I think, were pretty good, actually. She just had a lot of trauma related to the ward in general. Tilly/Max relationship kind of reminds me of the minor key version of You Are My Sunshine. I never heard that version of it, but I'm sure it's really nice. I'm kind of curious to listen to it now. There actually are a few songs that I imagine for Max and Tilly's relationship. There's that, that song, Evelyn? Yeah. I always thought that fit them just because they also knew each other for a long time, but then eventually it just, the relationship turned really sour. So being a ward dog, would that mean that the she-dogs are used for breeding or just to be tied up for no reason? Well, the she-dogs are not the only ones that get tied up. The dogs that get tied up are the ones who have been brought from the wilderness and are not considered quote-unquote trustworthy enough yet to be off of the rope. So they're essentially dogs that they plan on training to join the pack eventually, and the ones that are not trainable, they kind of just leave on the rope because they think that's better than them being in the wilderness or whatever in their mind. Oh, okay, I was so confused. I was like, I figure you're talking about the characters, not me. But you don't have to label them, I'm just curious. Honestly, yeah, for the characters, I was always like really, the only one I'm like sure of is Tilly, because we always, like me and my friends from the RP, we always imagined that Tilly was Pan. So that's like the one I'm like definite on. For Shepherd, I always imagined that they kind of didn't think that they would have any sort of romantic experiences, but then they met Tilly and just, all of that happened. So I'm not really sure for Shepherd. Mostly I think that in most circumstances, they probably wouldn't have had any interest in romance. They just met, they met someone who was really perfect for them. Since we're talking about the belief with dogs being shamed for not protecting their owners, what would it mean if, like, the owner just died from natural causes or sickness? Yeah, I'm guessing there would be less shame as far as, like, the dogs being seen as, like, failing. Because in those other situations, I think it was more seen as, like, okay, Tilly actually indirectly caused this person's death, even if she didn't mean to. So that is something that they already see as, like, oh gosh, you caused a human's death. And with, like, the bear, they were like, well, you should have protected them, and you didn't protect them well enough because they died from this situation. So I don't think natural cause or sickness would have quite the same level of shame. However, I do think any dog who's left without a master is seen as a lot more, a lot less, like, respected. I actually, in my opinion, not my opinion, my, like, I guess, lore, I guess, that wasn't important enough to share in the comic, but I always imagined was that the dogs that are guarding the ward dogs are lower ranked, and they do not have masters, basically any dog with a collar without a tag. And then the dogs that get to, like, actually leave the ward area and go into the forest and, like, hunt with the humans, those are the dogs that have masters and are more respected. I always worried that at some point Shepard's original master was going to show up at the ward. Yeah, that's a valid fear. So would you say Max is the shadow to Shepard, like what they could become? Yes, I would say that. I do think that Max is kind of like an alternate path that someone like Shepard could have gone down, since they have a lot of similarities for sure. And the same can be said for Shepard, where Max is, the same can be said for Max, where Shepard is also kind of the, where Max could have ended up had he handled things, had he reacted to things a little bit differently. Just read the finale and am in tears. Thank you for the beautiful story. Aw, you're welcome. Thank you. I'm really glad you enjoyed it. Idea if you want to. Spotify playlist for Nobody's Dog. I actually already have one. Of just songs that I imagine for the characters, or some of them maybe I want to make animations with. I'm not sure if I'll end up following through, but yeah. Ooh, I love Evelyn. Evelyn, it's a good song. Agreed, I really like its tone. Pam Tilly writes, yes, we love Pan Tilly. I think at one point I said, I think at one point I said that Shepard could be like a non-binary lesbian, perhaps. But again, I guess maybe that's just because my perspective, how I see things. I don't think it's super, like the Shepard and Tilly being together, I don't think it's super gender related for them. Not that that's not valid, but I just meant with them. I think it's more just the circumstance that they met each other, and I think Shepard's preferences are more just Tilly, so... Yeah, it's kind of hard to put a label on it, I guess. I would love some more character development for Tempest. They're just so spunky. So can you give us a quirk they have that's random? Random quirk. I'm like, what's I can think of off the top of my head? I mean, they have abandonment issues due to, what happened with their pack. Obviously, I know you guys don't know too much about their backstory yet, and hopefully I can explore that more in the future, but I don't know if it really counts as a quirk, but that's definitely a quality that they have. Do you have any pets? I'm sure you've answered before, but I didn't catch that at the time. Yeah, no worries. Yes, I have 2 dogs. Very predictable. But yeah, I have one 6-year-old dog, and she's a mutt. I really don't know what breed she is, but I'm guessing she's some kind of husky whippet shepherd mix. I don't know, but yeah, she's all white with pointy ears and 2 different colored eyes. And then I also have a 4-month-old puppy who is some kind of border collie mix. Their names are Chula and Nico. And yeah, they're both very cute. I love them. Did anything end up happening to the chief after losing a few dogs and becoming the only she-dog at the ward? I don't think so. I think the chief just was able to keep her position, and they probably eventually went and just captured more dogs, honestly. Thank you for such a great story. I have to go now, but I loved your characters / world building, and I enjoyed creating theories / what if scenarios for the characters. Yeah, of course. I'm really glad you loved the story, and I loved reading all your comments throughout this whole thing. Thank you. And yeah, thanks for stopping by. Take care. Hey, welcome, guys. What does Tilly find attractive about Shepard, since I know that Shepard is attracted to Tilly's kindness? I think even, I was going to say, obviously, Shepard's kindness is also something that Tilly really values. But I think also just their, I guess, determination, first off, to improve things for themselves, but also how protective and caring they are towards those that they care about, even those that they haven't gotten to know yet. For example, like when Shepard insisted that they tried to rescue the other ward dogs. I think that was something that Tilly really admired about them. But yeah, I don't know, sort of generic, but just the general things about Shepard. I think just things that balance Tilly out. Tilly originally was very naive and not wanting to see the worst in the ward, and so I think Shepard really helped her come over that realization about it. Do Shepard and Tilly's pups have names? Yes, this has been asked several times. They do not have names yet. I will probably give them names as I'll draw them more in the future, but they do not currently have names. The Discord icon is making me want to ping them just to see if it will show, but I must control myself. Yeah, I know. I keep saying I have one notification. I don't even know what it is. It would be cool if the pack overthrew the ward, something like an Animal Farm situation. Yeah, that would be really cool. Does the ward have a purpose to keep that many dogs, or a weird organization? There's not a reason to have that many dogs. The reason why they do is just simply because they think that having them in the ward rather than the wild is better. So they're like, oh, well, there's all these wild dogs, and, we're gonna bring them here, and this is a better place for them, even if they're, not even just if they're wild, honestly, but just if they're outside of the ward. So it's kind of, again, as I've sort of explained, it's kind of a religious belief or reason that they think that being in the ward is the best option for these dogs. All right, I'm probably going to end the stream soon just because it's been a while and, I don't want to run out of energy. It's definitely been a very busy day with the comic stuff. But I guess I'll let you guys 1% of my phone right now. So is the word like a shelter or more like a work camp? I mean, I guess it's kind of like a fake shelter. I think they think it's a shelter, but it's not actually humane. Thank you so much for this. Yeah, of course. I'm really glad I could take some time also to answer everyone's questions. They're really interesting to get to hear. Yeah, thank you all for stopping by. All right, I'm going to end it now. Bye, guys.